So good morning, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Bueno,
Very
buenos
nice
días
to
a
be with all
todos.
of you. It's a
Hare Krishna. Muy lindo
big
estar aquí
honor
con todos
to be able to
ustedes.
speak with all of you.
Y muy honrado de poder estar hablando con
An
todos
auspicious
ustedes.
celebration
Una
during an
celebración
auspicious month.
tan auspiciosa
Today
en un
we're
mes
going
tan
to be talking
auspicioso.
some about Govardhana Hill.
Vamos a hablar un poco acerca de
And of course,
Govardhana
it's the
Hill,
month of
de la
Kartik.
colina de Govardhana, perdón, durante el mes de Kartik.
So I think Guru Maharaj sometimes talks about
Y creo
the
que
month
Guru
of
Maharaj
Kartik being a
a
time when you
veces
can
habla que el mes de Kartik es
get more benefit by doing devotional service
un
than
mes en el que puedes
other
obtener
times in the
mucho
year.
más
Somehow,
beneficios
because
al
Krishna
hacer servicio
feels a greater
devocional más que en otros
necessity
meses,
during the month
dado que
of Kartik.
Krishna durante el mes de Kartik está con mucha necesidad.
I have a little story.
Y
I
tengo
have a lot of little stories
una
today,
pequeña
so you guys will
historia,
indulge me and humor me as we go through.
y voy a contar varias en el día
But
de
there
hoy.
was there's a little story about the sense of necessity
Una pequeña historia acerca de la necesidad
that may help us understand how Krishna feels a
que se
greater
nos
sense
ayuda a
of necessity.
comprender acerca
I
de cómo
work on the
Krishna
ambulance,
se siente en
and
base a la
one
necesidad. Yo
time I
trabajo en
went
una
to pick up this
ambulancia
man. He was
y
an
una vez fui
elderly man who had fallen
a recoger a
outside,
esta persona,
and
que era una persona
he
anciana,
couldn't get
un hombre
himself
anciano
back
que se había
up. He
caído
was stuck there, and
y no
he'd
se
been
podía
there for some
levantar.
time before one of the neighbors came.
Y había estado ahí en
And he
el
wasn't
piso
hurt badly,
hasta que
but
un
it was a
vecino
hot day.
lo
It was
había visto
July or August,
y
and
no
he
se
was
había
out there in
lastimado
the
mucho,
heat.
pero había
And I
estado,
asked him
hacía mucho
about
calor
his normal
y había
practices, if he'd
entrado en un
been
ataque de
taking
calor.
good care of himself, if he ate a good
Y
diet
yo le
and drank
pregunté
plenty of
si
water. And
mantenía
he said,
una
no, I
buena
don't really
dieta,
drink water.
si tomaba mucha agua, si
It's
se hacía
quite a
cargo de sí
common
mismo.
practice in
Y
America that there are some
él le
people who
dijo
never
que no
drink
bebía mucha
water.
agua.
They only
Y es
drink
algo común en
Coke or
Estados Unidos,
Diet
que hay
Coke or
personas que nunca beben agua,
whatever,
que
some
beben
soda.
solamente
And
Coca-Cola o
he said,
algún
no,
tipo de
I only
gaseosa.
drink Diet Coke. But
Y él dijo,
while
yo
I
solo
was out there
tomo
laying on the
Coca-Cola
ground in the
Diet.
heat, I would have been very happy to pay $50 for a good
si
old Diet Coke.
Y le dijo que sí, cuando él
So
estaba en el piso
in the
tirado con el calor,
month of
hubiera
Kartik is
sido
sort
muy
of like
feliz
that.
si él hubiera podido
His
pagar
sense of
50,
necessity was
50
greater in
dólares
that moment due to
por una
being out in the
Coca-Cola.
heat
Y eso es
and
algo
stuck
similar a
there
lo
on
que
his front
ocurre
lawn
en el mes de
and
Kartik
waiting
como
for
una
the neighbors to
analogía,
come by to get
que
him up
nuestra
off his
necesidad es
back like
mucho
a
mayor.
turtle.
Perdón,
So,
la necesidad de Krishna es mucho
anyway,
mayor en
Krishna
base a lo
feels
que
a
es
greater necessity
en
during the
relación
month of Kartik,
a la
and so
sed
it's
de
a
la
good
persona.
time for us to perform devotional
Entonces, bueno,
service.
Krishna tiene muchas necesidades en
It's a
el
good
mes de
time for
Kartik,
us to
entonces
increase
es un buen
our
momento para
hearing
que
and chanting. Of
nosotros
course, all the
realicemos
time is a good time
actividades
to increase our
devocionales.
hearing and
Y
chanting
obvio que
and our sense
todo
of
el tiempo es un buen
Sharanagati and
momento
surrender.
para incrementar nuestro canto, nuestra escucha, fomentar Sharanagati y cosas
Today
así.
I wanted to,
Y
a
bueno, hoy
question came up.
vamos.
Guru Maharaj was recently here in North Carolina after 2 years. And so that
Guru
was
Maharaj
a
estaba
great
recientemente
celebration
aquí
for all of
en
us.
Carolina del Norte,
We were
después de
very
hace unos
excited
varios
to have
años,
him here.
y fue una gran celebración para todos nosotros. Estamos muy contentos de haberlo tenido aquí.
But a question came up from one of our dear
Pero
friends
una pregunta surgió de uno de nuestros
about the
queridos
nature
amigos
of discussing
acerca de la
Krishna's
naturaleza
Leelas and Krishna's pastimes
acerca
in
de la
Vrindavan. He was
naturaleza
speaking
de la
about
discusión
the
en base a
15th chapter of
Leela de Krishna en
the
Vrindavan.
10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where
Y los capítulos
Krishna
del canto 10
graduates from
de
being
Srimad
a
Bhagavatam,
calf herder to becoming a cow herder. And
en los que Krishna
so he's going into
comienza
all these very specific and
ser
detailed
un
pastimes.
pastor.
And our friend asks,
Y nuestro amigo preguntó en base a eso,
that so a lot of the talks are very beautiful, and I'm not able to follow all of it.
los
But
temas
I
son muy
wish that there
lindos
was
y no
something a little
estoy,
more
no estoy
practical
siendo
that I could
capaz de
apply
seguirlos a todos,
in my
pero
daily
me gustaría
life.
ver si hay algo más
So I
práctico que
wanted to
pudiera
backtrack just a little bit,
desarrollar
and I
en
don't want to
mi
delve
día a
into
día.
this too long. I don't want to give a long introduction, but I did want to
Entonces,
backtrack a little
voy
bit.
a hablar un poquito de esto, no quiero irme mucho del
And
tema,
like,
pero
I don't exactly know who everyone is in the audience, and I don't know where everyone
sinceramente
is.
no sé quién es cada quien aquí en la audiencia,
So I think
no sé
a
de
little
dónde son
background might be
todos,
good.
pero
Like
voy a
Guru
dar un poquito
Maharaj says, sometimes it's
de trasfondo para
the philosophy or what we're
sea
talking
útil.
about. It's too high for some and too low
Y
for
Guru
others.
Maharaj a veces dice que la filosofía que estamos hablando puede ser muy alta para algunos y quizás muy baja para otros.
I wanted to give a little bit of a
Entonces,
background to
voy a dar
answer
un
the
poco
question, how is Krishna Katha
de terreno
practical?
acerca de lo que es, de cómo es
So we'll
práctico
go
Krishna
to
Katha.
one of the things, one of the practical answers that Krishna gives
Una
is
de las
found in the
respuestas prácticas
7th chapter, in the
Krishna nos da
first verse of the 7th chapter.
en el
So
primer
this
verso del
the
capítulo
chapter is
7,
called the Yoga of Knowledge and
que
Realization.
se llama el
And
capítulo
I'll read
se
you
llama el yoga
the
de la
verse.
realización y el conocimiento.
I guess we should
Y-
offer some
y
invocation prayers
voy a leer
also.
el verso, creo que estaría bueno recitar
Om
ciertos
Gyana
pranams.
Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Siddhantot Palasara Nitya Rasikam Hamsam Vilasatmakam Odaryakya Sudama Sevakadanam Vishramba Bhakti Pradam Yatcha Yukti Vichakshanam Bhagavido Vasista Satya Sada Vandeham Tripurari Namaka Yatim Sri Bhakti Vedantinam Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Hare Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Dr. Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye.
So, recitando los pranams. Entonces,
Krishna says in the first verse
Krishna
of the 7th chapter, Sri Bhagavanu Vacha, Maya Ashakta Mama Partha, Yogam Yunjan Marasraya, Asamsayam Samagram Mam, Yatha Gyasyasi Touch Trinu. The Lord of Sri said, listen, dijo, O Partha, how with mind attached to me, practicing yoga and taking refuge in me, you can know me completely without a doubt.
Conocerme completamente sin ninguna
Guru
duda.
Maharaj offers a really beautiful purport.
Guru Maharaj ofrece un enfoque muy interesante. Habla acerca de lo que significa
what the full scope of knowledge and understanding about Krishna.
El concepto de conocimiento y entender a
prospect
Krishna.
That offers us.
¿Cuál es la entrada que nos presenta?
So hearing about Krishna, of course, is the beginning of devotional service.
Claro que
doesn't really matter
principio del servicio devocional, el comienzo del principio del
what tradition
servicio
you
devocional.
come from. I think most religious traditions around the world suggest hearing extensively as a means of understanding what God is, what the foundational knowledge of God is,
Siempre
what
todas las
is the world,
filosofías suelen recomendar el escuchar acerca de
what are
Dios
we and what is our relationship to God, what is our
para
relationship to the
fundamentar
world.
nuestros cimientos
And
con nuestra relación
as
con
Guru
Dios,
Maharaj
etc.
often likes to say, there's an old song, to
know
him is to love him.
Hay una pequeña canción que dice
when I was a little boy, I had my
amarlo.
mother's records, all of
Cuando
her
yo
vinyl
era chico,
records from the
tenía
50s.
los discos de vinilo
And I
de mi
used to have
madre,
the big headphones
tenía los
with the
grandes
quarter-inch
headphones,
jack.
los auriculares,
And so I would listen to these songs. So I was
con el gran cable
familiar with that. I've actually compiled a list, a Spotify playlist of the songs that Guru Maharaj has quoted, just for fun.
A veces,
maybe I'll share that with you guys sometime. I don't
las
remember what I've
canciones que Guru
entitled
Maharaj
it,
toma
but
como
there are
referencia
many.
por
But it's an
diversión.
old song. To know,
Y esta canción que estás citando es una
is
canción
to love,
antigua que dice conocerlo, es amarlo, amarlo, amarlo,
see
amarlo.
him smile,
Solamente
makes my life
el verlo
worthwhile.
sonreír
Yes, to
hace que la sonrisa sea
know him is to love,
lo más necesario.
love him.
Y ahí está cantando la canción del Prabhu.
So that's one of Guru Maharaj's suggestions about understanding Krishna and understanding why it's important to hear about Krishna, because knowing about Krishna, by nature, we're
porque por naturaleza
not to launch into like where does bhakti come from? I don't want to get into that too
para
much,
entrar en el tema de dónde viene
all
bhakti,
individuals in the world, we all have a
en el
sense
mundo,
that we come from somewhere and that we have something higher, a higher potential within us. And I think that it's natural for us to want to seek our source, or we want to have some connection
como algo natural
with that.
que busquemos nuestra fuente y tenemos cierta conexión con ello.
So,
entonces,
our conception of God is very specific.
Nuestra concepción de Dios es bastante específica.
To think that of all the different religious traditions that are in the world that are available, ours offers a very specific insight, a lot of detailed information, a profound amount of detailed information about who God is and what He is, what He's like, and what our connection is with Him in the great transcendental realm
dentro
which is beyond generally
del
beyond
reino
our
trascendental que está
frame of
mucho más
reference.
allá de nuestro plano de referencia.
There are also other conceptions
Y también hay
within
otras
the Vedic
concepciones
idea.
en
We
base a
have a
las ideas
Brahman
védicas.
conception,
Tenemos
and
la
we have a
concepción del Brahman,
Paramatma
la
conception.
concepción del
So of course the
Paramatma.
Brahman is the unvariegated,
Como por supuesto, Brahman es
comprehensive ideal,
la idea
where all conscious beings become folded into one in one
todos los seres vivientes
homogeneous, unified light, maybe.
En uno.
And of course we have a localized idea of what is God,
y después
the
tenemos la
Param
idea
Atma.
localizada de qué es
So
Dios,
the Atma means the self or the soul,
Atma
means a lot of
significa el
different
ser o
things,
el
and
alma,
Param means the
Param
supreme. So the
significa
supreme
supremo.
soul
Entonces
who
el alma suprema
accompanies the living
acompaña,
entity through their
como entidades
sojourn
vivientes,
of life in the material world.
nos acompaña a través de nuestro caminar por el
And
mundo
then you have a lot of
material.
different conceptions.
Y después tenemos
You
varias
have the
concepciones
deists who
más.
have an idea of God as like a clockmaker. So he makes the world, he makes the universe, and then
tenemos la
he
idea de
sends it
Dios como
out,
creador,
and then it runs on its own. The gears
del
work,
universo.
and it runs however it does. But he's detached. He's back at the clock shop making other clocks.
Pero él está como detrás de la tienda haciendo.
And then the Muslims have an idea
reloj,
that God might be formless.
Como una
it's
analogía que
important
mencionó.
to the Muslim people that God not have a form somehow.
Y
and
la gente musulmán, por ejemplo,
you'll
dice
have
que Dios
to
no tiene
indulge
forma.
me a little bit here. I'm not a serious student of any of these other
Y acá me
traditions.
hay que disculpar porque no soy un gran estudiante de ninguna
Partly
de
a
estas
serious student
tradiciones.
of our own tradition. So part of what I'm saying is I've only tasted the sweetness of what those traditions have to offer by mostly licking the outside of the bottle. So there may be more to what they have to offer. But our conception is very specific.
Pero nuestra concepción es bastante específica.
So
Entonces,
Guru Maharaj talks about
Guru Maharaj
this Bhagavan feature,
habla acerca de la figura de Bhagavan,
where Krishna is the supreme person.
Donde Krishna es la suprema personalidad
and he says
de Dios.
Bhagavan is the personal, lovable aspect of Godhead, replete with
Bhagavan
eternal form, abode,
más,
associates, and pastimes.
Adorable
So that's what we're
Dios,
talking about
con sus
when we think
asociados
about
y sus
Govardhana Hill, of course. We're talking about some
cuando hablamos de la colina de
important place within
hablamos de
his
un lugar
abode.
Importante que se encuentra en su reino,
but
en su morada.
Delve into this for just another minute. So,
entonces,
Prabhupada compares these three aspects of God, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan compares it to a few different things, but one of the things he compares it to is a mountain. And he says when you're far away from the mountain, which I guess would be when you have a little bit less knowledge, you've heard a little bit less, you perceive the mountain in a particular way, you can see that it's a large body of land, which rises up over the horizon, in sort of a pyramid type shape maybe. And then as you get closer, you can see that you can see different types of trees, and you can see the different foliage, and you can see some patches of evergreen trees, and you can see some patches of deciduous trees. And then when you get really close, you can see that there are all kinds of living entities that are supported by that mountain. And you can see that there are villages and there are homes, and maybe there are creeks or rivers and all kinds of animals and humans, and they all derive their sustenance from that mountain. So the first one is compared to the Brahman realization, and then as you heard more and you learn more, you see that there's a localized conception, and then that mountain which is sustaining and maintaining all these living entities, and having all this variety within it, that's compared to the Bhagavan conception. So one of the things that we want to know about God is we want to, if we can, we would like to know him completely. So in order to know God completely, we have to hear about God. We have to hear from sages and sadhus, and that's one of the great benefits of having all these different classes.
de sabios y
get to
de
hear from so
sadhus.
many of our God brothers and God
Tenemos que
sisters, and we get
escuchar
to hear from Guru
mucho en base a
Maharaj.
nuestros hermanos espirituales,
It's
hermanas
really super.
espirituales, mucho acerca de nuestro Guru
Yesterday's
Maharaj.
class was really nice.
La clase de ayer fue
Prabhupada
muy
gave such a
linda.
beautiful class.
Prabhupada dio una clase muy hermosa.
Took us on a virtual tour through some of the holy places there in Govardhana Hill.
En base a los lugares
And naturally,
sagrados
it's a little
de la colina de
intimidating
Govardhana. Y es
to
un poco
follow
intimidante
in the wake of so many nice devotees.
Seguirlo
I heard an interesting
en la
story,
compañía
and I decided I'm going to share all of these stories that
he
come to mind.
Una pequeña historia y decidí que
But this
compartir
week,
historias que vienen
on the internet, I saw a video
esta semana en internet
where there were
vi un video
some famous rappers and other people talking.
Raperos famosos y otras personas hablando.
So Jay-Z was giving an account of how he had played a show with another rapper named DMX. Both of these gentlemen are very, very famous rappers.
Desarrollar un show con otro rapero, que son raperos muy conocidos.
So Jay-Z said,
y entonces Jay-Z dijo,
I was supposed to play in some huge arena, Madison Square Gardens or something in New York.
Se suponía que yo tenía que tocar en algún lugar de Nueva York.
He was supposed to play first, and then I was supposed to go on
otro rapero
and play next.
Tenía que tocar antes que yo.
And so he said that,
y después yo tenía que subir y tocar.
As the show started, the crowd poured in,
así como el show arrancó,
the house lights went down, and everything got dark.
Las luces bajaron, el público se quedó en silencio.
Onto the stage and took the microphone and he growled.
Y este otro rapero subió
and he said all the men just went crazy.
Tomó el micrófono, empezó
and then they came out and they performed a few songs. And then about halfway through the show, he pulled his shirt off and he had all these handsome muscles and all the women, then they went crazy. And then they played a lot more songs and they played all the crowd favorites. And then at the end, he said a prayer.
Él dijo una oración.
It was so beautiful. He must have gotten some help from some beautiful preachers. He said, and everybody in Madison Square Gardens cried. He said there was hardly a dry eye in Madison Square Gardens. And then he left the stage and the house lights came back up. And DMX walked off stage and he said to Jay-Z, all right, now you go.
Y este rapero salió del escenario y le dice al otro rapero, bueno, okay.
It had already been a lot, so that's sometimes how I feel, especially yesterday after hearing Prabhupada's nice class. That's a hard act to follow.
Todo lo que están ofreciendo mis espirituales, como por ejemplo la
anyway, I'm going to try my best. We're going to continue a little bit.
Es complicado para mí estar aquí, pero voy a intentarlo lo mejor. Dar lo mejor.
So I wanted to talk about this a little bit.
Entonces quiero hablar acerca
this is something that Guru Maharaj shares, which gives me a great sense of
esto es algo que Guru Maharaj comparte, que me da
and faith within myself about what is my future prospect and what is my future hold in a life of devotion to Krishna, in a life of devotion with others who also love Krishna. And I'll just read this bit of this purport.
En conjunto con otras personas que también
aman Krishna. Samagra knowing is the knowledge that is inherent in love.
El conocimiento es la sabiduría que se
Guru Maharaj implies that there's a kind of knowledge that comes with a certain feeling. So we have both a bhakti and a Vedanta side. So Vedanta means the knowing side, and the bhakti in one sense means the loving side.
Entonces está
and he says when one loves,
amoroso,
one knows what to do.
Cuando uno ama, uno sabe qué hacer.
There's another song for that. I won't delve into that just now. When one loves God, one knows everything one needs to know. This knowing is characterized further as freeing one from doubt, a samsayam. So we talk about that sometimes. We have some doubt, right? We all have these ideas of why our faith isn't strong, maybe, or why we don't practice in as determined a way as we might hope to or we might want to. It's because we have some doubt.
¿Por qué no practicamos de la manera que vemos como nuestro ideal? Es porque tenemos ciertas dudas.
Our faith lies in our own strength to pursue happiness, or that happiness might come of our own agenda. But that's a problem of identity. So this knowing characterized further as freeing one from doubt. Doubt is a function of the mind. When it is overridden, we're able to move freely. And I really like this next part. Intellect-driven movement suggests surety. Yet following its lead amounts to proceeding with caution. it is not the movement
seguir
of the
su
heart.
camino, seguir su camino
We proceed through the world following
le
the
permite a uno
things
moverse cuidadosamente.
which our
Entonces,
intellect
nos
tells
movemos
us
a través
will give
del
us a
mundo,
sense of
percibiendo cosas que nos
security.
brindan
I think
seguridad
that's part of
de
what
manera
comes from the
intelectual.
mode of passion. Is we all want to have a
Seguridad creo que
sense
es
of
algo,
security that my
el
life is
sentido de seguridad creo
it's
que
going to
es
be
algo que viene de la
okay.
modalidad
I'm
de
going
la
to be able to
pasión.
provide for
Saber que
myself and my
tenemos
family,
nuestra vida
and
asegurada, que podemos
we're
proveer a
going
nuestra
to be
familia,
warm in a
a
safe
nosotros
house, and
mismos,
we're
que
going to have plenty
estaremos
of everything.
en una casa cálida con todo planeado.
But that's not the movement of the heart.
Pero eso no es
So
el
here
movimiento del
Krishna
corazón.
speaks of the
Entonces,
homeland of the heart
aquí
and a life in
Krishna
which the
habla
mind
acerca
and intellect are
de
subordinate to
la
one's
tierra natal
heart.
del corazón.
In this land, one does not doubt the virtue of serving God,
Uno
but
no duda
questions how
acerca de la
one can
virtud de
serve Him
servir a
best
Dios
in any given circumstance.
y pregunta en cualquier tipo de circunstancia cómo
So,
él o ella puede servir mejor.
part of what's practical about hearing discussions about Krishna
Parte de
and
lo
his
que es
pastimes
práctico de escuchar
is that one
discusiones
point, there
o
are several
charlas
points to
acerca de
make,
los
and I'll try and be
pasatiempos de
brief,
Krishna.
is that hearing
El
about
punto es
these
que
pastimes in and of itself
escuchar
is
acerca de estos
devotional service.
pasatiempos nos ayuda a nuestro servicio devocional.
Also, hearing
También
about these pastimes
hablar acerca de
is
estos escuchar acerca de estos
nourishing
pasatiempos
for
nutre
some people who are
a
eager
ciertas
to hear that.
personas
There are many
que
types
están
of things one can
están,
hear in the material world.
están
And some people yearn to hear about
sin
the
ganas de
deeper
escuchar, por así
inner
decirlo,
secrets of
acerca
what
de
goes on within Krishna's pastimes.
de lo que sucede en los pasatiempos de Krishna.
We're going back to that feeling of security and that sense of self, which has to strive and achieve and gain something in the world.
De lo que uno quiere conseguir en el mundo.
Those things will never be.
Esas cosas
they will never last, for one, and they'll never give us the kind of happiness and sense of security that comes from actually knowing who we truly are as the servant of Krishna, as an eternal soul. We're talking about Atmananda, and we're also talking about Bhakti Ananda. So we have to understand what our identity is. So hearing about Krishna is practical based on our sense of identity.
Es práctico en base a nuestro sentido de identidad.
I want to go through this just a little bit.
Y quiero leer esto un poquito.
In America, they used to talk about this, and I don't know that they teach this, and they may teach this other places in the world as well. But
en otros lugares del mundo.
That everything within the material world is either an animal, a vegetable, or a mineral.
Un animal, un vegetal,
so that comprises all that all that we see and all that ever has been. And just scratching the surface of that, they say the difference between the minerals and the animals and vegetables is that the minerals were never alive. Which implies to me and to us as Gaudiya people that there is a unique conscious individual within the vegetables and the animals that differentiates them by being conscious, by being aware, and by having lived, as opposed to the water or carbon in and of itself has never been alive. So in the same way, in a similar way, I wanted to show you guys this. We have, Heather's got everything blurred. So all it says is that in our Gaudiya tradition, what we have, there are only three things. We have a Maya Shakti, a Tatastha Shakti, and a Svarup Shakti. There are only three things. So Krishna's external energy, and Krishna's marginal energy, and Krishna's internal energy.
Y la energía interna de Krishna. Entonces,
hearing about Krishna's pastimes
acerca de los pasatiempos de Krishna
is important because we are Krishna's marginal energy.
Somos
and we have a
nosotros
tendency
somos la
to
energía
be
marginal de Krishna.
influenced by
Y tenemos la tendencia de estar influenciados
whatever we're around. So if we're surrounded by the material energy all of the time, then we're going to be influenced to act on our more material tendencies. And if we're surrounded by Krishna's spiritual energy all of the time, then we're going to be influenced to act in a way that's spiritual. So of course,
tenderemos a actuar más en base a lo que es las actividades espirituales.
I talked about this longer than I meant to so far. But I'll just go through these verses and then we'll jump into something else. But I wanted to give a foundation of, I wanted to try and answer this. How is it practical to hear about all of these things? It is, and I was thinking for myself, it is practical based on our identity as something which is different from matter. It's very, very practical.
Algo que es diferente a la materia.
Krishna says in text 4 of Bhagavad Gita, Bhumir apo nalo vayu kammano bhutirvacha ahankara iti yame vina prakritir astada. So earth,
Entonces,
so we're still in analysis mode. Earth, water,
tierra,
fire,
agua,
air,
fuego,
ether.
aire,
Those are the 5 gross elements that are practical, they're tangible, you can reach out and touch all of them except the space.
Son tangibles.
The ether is the space.
El éter es el espacio,
where all of those other things reside.
Donde los
and then in
otros
a subtle
elementos
way we have
residen.
mind,
En la forma sutil
intelligence,
tenemos mente,
and a
inteligencia
sense of ego, ahankara.
y ahankar, la tendencia de ego.
I, and kara, it means maker. So ahankara is an
Ahankara
I
significa
maker.
yo soy el creador.
So those are the 3 subtle energies.
Entonces, esas son las 3
some
energías
people
sutiles.
refer to as the astral body, which sounds a little
donde
woo-woo, maybe.
a veces personas se refieren a eso como el cuerpo astral.
And that's how we think of
Krishna habla
ourselves.
acerca de ellos.
That's how we process our life through the lens of our mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Pensamos que somos,
and,
como percibimos la vida
in higher
de
realms,
estos
like
lentes.
Lord Brahma, he also has like a
mundos
mind and
superiores,
intelligence
como
and an
por
ego,
ejemplo el
but
señor Brahma.
he is more refined material person. His body is said to be made of intelligence, whereas we're made of all these earth, water, fire,
pero
air.
se dice, por ejemplo,
Lord
que el
Brahma's
cuerpo de
body is
Brahma está
made of
hecho
intelligence, so he's
de
a more refined person.
Entonces es una persona más refinada.
So anyway, we're not those things. We're not earth, water, fire, air, ether,
no somos
mind,
cosas,
intelligence, or
no somos los 5 elementos,
Krishna says that those are his
y
bina
el sentido del ego.
prakriti. They're separated.
Esos son
Prakriti, of course, is nature, Prakriti and Purusha, and then we have
separadas.
Bina. Those are separated from Krishna. So that's his
se denomina como
Maya
Bina, son
Shakti,
separados de Krishna,
external
son
energy.
parte
So
de la
if it's an
energía
external
Maya
energy,
Shakti,
then it's a Maya
energía
Shakti.
externa.
So that also differentiates us because we're a marginal energy.
Nosotros somos energía
A
marginal.
proud member, card-carrying member, the marginal potency of Krishna.
Tenemos la identidad de ser, llevamos el carnet que nos dice que somos energía marginal de
Krishna.
En el próximo verso, Krishna dice,
Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho Yayadam Daryate Jagat. However, other than this,
sin embargo,
Almighty Armed One, you should know that I have another superior nature, consisting of souls, by which this universe is sustained.
Que consiste en almas a través de las cuales este universo se mantiene.
doesn't stress this word, souls, very often, but
no habla mucho acerca de esta palabra, almas.
Emphasis
Pero aquí le ha dado cierto énfasis en el texto 5.
And then Krishna, he only hints at his Svarup Shakti. So we've talked about the external Shakti,
hablamos acerca del Shakti externo,
another energy, which is ourselves, a superior nature of souls. And then he hints at the next, his internal energy in the next 2 verses. You should understand that all beings are born of these 2 powers, and that I am the origin and destroyer of the universe. Again, hinting at his internal energy in the next verse. Nothing whatsoever is superior to me, O winner of wealth. Everything rests on me as pearls are strung on a thread.
Pero no puedo escuchar el principio, pero todo descansa en mí.
And then,
y después,
text 17 refers to again to the Svarup Shakti.
Of these,
the man in knowledge who is ever united and one with me in devotion is best. Indeed, I am very affectionate to a person in knowledge, and he is
muy afectadas, muy queridas por mí.
Text 18, again, all of these are no doubt exalted. However, the self-realized soul I regard as my very self. Indeed, his mind is fixed on me. He abides in me, the ultimate goal. So there he's hinting at what is the Svarup Shakti.
La mente de estas personas está dedicada a mí. Ellos residen conmigo en la morada suprema.
So, from here we'll transition a little bit. We'll do some practical hearing about these very specific and esoteric things about the nature of Krishna's pastimes.
Acerca de la naturaleza de los pasatiempos de Krishna.
And I hope that it'll be practical for all of us to hear these things. We're going
espero que sea
to talk
práctico para
today
la mayoría de
about a devotee
nosotros
of Krishna.
acerca,
So
oír
this
acerca de estas
devotee, he
cosas, porque
sets
hoy
a good
vamos a hablar
example for us.
acerca de un devoto de Krishna.
And that's part of what the bhakti process is.
Y esto es
as
parte del proceso de Bhakti.
Raganuga devotees. We
En
hope
base a
to
los
become
devotos
followers of
Raganuga.
these very serious devotees, very
Y nosotros
stalwart
aspiramos a
devotees,
ser
or
seguidores
devotees
de
who,
estos devotos tan
ultimately the
serios,
devotees
tan
who have these feelings of
dedicados,
devotion that are inborn and indwelling within them, or
devotos
people
que
who
tienen
have
estos sentimientos de devoción
people who have worked on
internos,
themselves, and people who have aspired
personas
in
que han
devotion
trabajado
for a long
en sí
time.
mismas y han aspirado a la
And
devoción por mucho tiempo.
we hope to be like those people. We hope to
Y
emulate
nosotros
them. We hope to do the things that
esperamos
they've done, and we hope to
poder
develop the
ser como esas
feelings that
personas,
they're already
poder
feeling.
desarrollar los mismos
I was
sentimientos que
thinking
ellos
earlier this week
han
that
sentido o están sintiendo.
Govardhana, the pastimes at Govardhana and all of
Y los
Krishna's pastimes
pasatiempos
are
de
an
Govardhana,
eternal
así
lila.
como todos los
They're
pasatiempos de
a nitya
Krishna, son
lila,
lilas
and
eternos,
that there are
nitya lila.
probably people
Y
who are
probablemente hay
experiencing the
personas
Govardhana lila
que estén experimentando
today,
el pasatiempo de Govardhana hoy,
somewhere in one of the universes, who
en
are like
alguna parte de los
ourselves.
universos,
At some point in their previous life,
que en
they
algún
were a
momento
Bada
fueron,
Jiva living in
como nosotros,
maybe on the Earth planet. Maybe there's
jivas
some
viviendo en
Bada Jiva
planetas
who was in
terrestres.
North Carolina, but now, today, in some other universe, he's
Quizás hubo
experiencing the
alguna
Govardhana
de
Hill.
estas
He's
jivas
standing
que en algún
there,
momento vivió en
surrounded by
Carolina del
loving devotees
Norte,
of Krishna,
pero
and
hoy se
Krishna's holding
encuentra
Govardhana Hill in
en
his
otro
left
universo,
hand. In his
experimentando
past,
y viviendo
he
en el
was a
pasatiempo
conditioned
de
person in
Govardhana,
North Carolina, but
con
today
Krishna sosteniendo la colina
he's an
con su dedo meñique,
exalted,
pero hoy,
loving,
pero
like
quizás en su
cowherd
pasado
boy,
fue otra
cowherd
persona como
girl,
nosotros,
cowherd
y hoy es
man, and
un gopa, una
under the
gopi,
hill, protected
debajo de
from
la
Indra's
colina,
torment of the
protegiéndose
Samvartaka clouds.
protegiéndose de la
So
tormenta de Indra.
one day we will get there.
Entonces algún día llegaremos ahí.
So anyway,
entonces, bueno, de todas maneras,
I want
hoy
to talk a little bit.
voy a hablar un
We're going to
poquito acerca.
transition. We're going to talk about one of these amazing devotees.
Vamos a transitar un poco, vamos a hablar acerca de uno de estos asombrosos devotos.
This is one of the people that we can look
Esta es
to
una de las personas que podemos
our potential in devotion for Krishna.
Podemos ver como nuestro potencial la devoción hacia Krishna.
I want to talk just a little. This person, of course, is a tirtha unto themselves.
Es
and
un
when Guru
tirtha en sí
Maharaj was
mismo.
here, it was one of the
Guru
verses
Maharaj
that he asked
estuvo
for.
aquí, fue uno de los versos que solicitó.
King Yudhisthira is speaking to Vidura, and he said, and Yudhisthira tells Vidura that saintly persons like himself, who always carry the Lord within their heart, are themselves places of pilgrimage. They are
Las personas que tienen,
and Guru Maharaj went on
las
to
personas que
explain
tienen tal devoción
a tirtha
en
is
su
like
corazón
a
son en sí
person
mismos
or a
un
place
tirtha. Y Guru Maharaj describe que tirtha es una persona o un lugar
the veil or the covering between
el velo o lo que cubre
what's apparent
lo que es aparente
in the spiritual world and what's
en el mundo espiritual
blurry in the material world.
y lo que es
That
borroso en el mundo
veil
material,
becomes
ese
very
velo
thin.
se vuelve
So
muy
Bhakti
fino.
Rasa, she was recently talking about the nature
Entonces
of
Bhakti Rasa estaba
Halloween.
hablando
Halloween
acerca de la
is
naturaleza
a time
de Halloween,
when it's thought
Halloween
that
es
the
un
veil
momento
between the material realm, our obvious material realm, and the subtle spiritual, subtle material realms,
el reino del mundo
that
material
veil
y el reino
becomes
espiritual,
thin.
el velo se vuelve
So
fino.
that's a time,
Entonces ese es un tiempo
when that happens. But today we're going
donde
to
eso
talk about a
sucede.
person who is,
Y hoy hablaremos acerca de una persona
who is a person who embodies
que es una persona que
the
encarna
opportunity for that veil to be lifted,
la oportunidad de ese
and
velo
for us to peer
de ser
within those
levantado y
private
ver
things that come to us by mercy, some
ver esas
things
cosas
that
que
we
llegan a
can't
nosotros
necessarily
a través
qualify ourselves for in the
la
association
misericordia,
of such a person.
cosas que no
We get the
estamos
opportunity, we
calificados para
become
obtener, pero que la
privileged to
obtenemos
see
en base a la
beyond the
asociación.
veil, and we see into those
Tenemos el
feelings.
privilegio de ver
When Guru
a
Maharaj
través del
talks,
velo.
and when a lot of
Guru
devotees that
Maharaj
give classes talk,
habla,
we have these
o cualquier
feelings that
persona que nos da
arise in
estas
us
clases
that
habla,
are there. They lay
sentimos
a little bit
sentimientos
dormant
que
sometimes
surgen
when we're doing so many practical things
en
in our life. But
nosotros,
in the right
pero que a veces están medio
association,
dormidos porque estamos haciendo cosas en la vida,
we
pero
get to see,
con la
we get to hear
asociación
those
correcta
things, we
llegamos
feel
a
those
ver y a
feelings.
escuchar estas cosas y
So
obtener
we pick
estos
up in the
sentimientos.
story
Entonces
in
vamos
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
hablar una historia acerca de Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Charitamrita, we're going to talk about our primary hero, Lord Chaitanya.
Y vamos a hablar acerca de nuestro principal héroe,
Lord
el Señor
Chaitanya's travels,
Chaitanya.
he happens to
Y
be
en los viajes del Señor Chaitanya,
visiting in a village called Ramuna,
él
and
estaba
he's
visitando
visiting the
una
temple of
aldea que se llamaba
Gopinath.
Ramuna y estaba visitando el templo de Gopinath.
So Lord Chaitanya visited the
Entonces,
temple and offered his obeisances
el Señor
with great
Chaitanya
devotion.
visitó este templo y ofreció sus
And
reverencias
when
con gran
Lord
devoción.
Chaitanya offered his obeisances, the garland
cuando
of flowers, or the crown of flowers that had been on the
Chaitanya
head of the Gopinath deity,
ofreció su
fell
reverencia,
onto
la
and
ornamenta de
landed
flores
on
que
the
estaba
head
en la
of
cabeza
Lord
de Gopinath,
Chaitanya,
cuando él se
which
encontró en el suelo, cayó sobre la cabeza del Señor
must have
Chaitanya,
been wonderful for all the devotees that were there, the
lo cual debe haber
pujaris and the
sido,
other
debe haber
devotees
sido
that accompanied
maravilloso
Lord Chaitanya.
ver para todos los pujaris que estaban
And he
ahí
chanted and
y los
danced in
devotos ver que
various
eso
ways.
que haya caído en la
And,
cabeza del Señor Chaitanya y pudieron cantar, gritar y alabar al Señor de esa manera.
The Lord Chaitanya remained there because he
Entonces,
was
el
very
Señor
eager to
Chaitanya
taste the sweet rice which was
permaneció ahí
offered
porque
to the
tenía muchas
Gopinath deity.
ansias
This deity is
de
very
probar
famous as
el
the
arroz dulce
Shirachora
que se
Gopinath.
le ofrece a la
And
deidad de Gopinath, que es muy conocido.
so having heard a narration from
Entonces,
his spiritual master Ishvara Puri of what had
habiendo oído
once
una
happened
narración
there.
de su maestro Ishvara Puri de lo que sucedía ahí.
So formerly this deity of Shirachora Gopinath
Entonces,
had stolen a pot of sweet rice for Madhavendra
la
Puri.
historia es que esta
And
deidad
therefore
de
he
Gopinath
became
había
very
robado
famous as the deity
un
that
plato de
stole a
arroz
pot
para
of sweet
Madhavendra
rice for
Puri
Madhavendra Puri.
y se había convertido muy
So
famoso como la deidad que
Madhavendra
había
Puri
robado arroz para Madhavendra Puri. Y Madhavendra Puri
is said to be
se dice que es
the incarnation
la encarnación
in some circles, according to
en
some of
algunos
these
círculos se
bhajans,
suele decir esto,
Gaudiya Vaishnava bhajans, we take on
además de ciertos
good
Gaudiya
faith that
Vaishnava Bhajans,
Madhavendra Puri is said to be the
Madhavendra
incarnation of the Vamsi Bhat tree.
Madhavendra
So
Puri se
there
dice que es
are
la
many
encarnación
special
de,
places
si no
within
me equivoco,
Vrindavan
un
where
árbol de hijo de Prabhu.
Radha and Krishna might meet in some
Que hay ciertos
clandestine
lugares
way.
en los que
There's
Radha y
some
Krishna se suelen
secretness about the places where they
encontrar.
meet and what goes on in those meeting places.
Y en estos lugares de encuentro hay cierta dulzura, lo que suele
So this
suceder
Vamsi
allí.
Bhat tree, I can only
Y
imagine the kind of beautiful tree
árbol
that this
que
Vamsi
ni
Bhat
siquiera
tree is, or
puedo
what
imaginarme
goes on there.
qué tipo
But
de belleza
Madhavendra
tiene este
Puri, of
árbol,
course, is said to be an
pero
incarnation
que
of
se
that
encuentra en
tree.
estos
And of
lugares
course,
de
Guru
encuentro de Radha y
Maharaj
Krishna.
says
Y
we
se
should
suele decir que
approach
Madhavendra Puri es una encarnación de este tipo de árbol.
such topics with a little bit of hesitancy, a little bit of caution.
Y Guru Maharaj, si no me equivoco, dijo
I've
que
asked
suele
him
tocar
a
estos
number of
temas
questions about this,
con
about
cierto
Dwarka and
tipo
Adesha
de
Deepika and
precaución.
things like that, where certain persons are described. And
Y recuerdo haber hecho muchas preguntas en base a este tipo de preguntas de personas, de quienes suelen ser y demás.
I don't know, anyway, to have some caution.
Y lo que él me responde es como tener cierto tipo de precaución.
Madhavendra Puri was traveling alone
Madhavendra Puri estaba
for a
viajando
long
solo
time,
por mucho
and
tiempo
he made his way to Vrindavan,
y llegó a
and very happy to
Vrindavan.
be there.
Y estando muy contento de estar ahí,
and so he arrived there, and he took his bath
en
at
el
the
momento
Govinda
que
Kund.
llegó, tomó
Madhavendra
su
Puri
baño en el Govinda
was
Kund.
chanting and chanting.
Y Madhavendra
It was a
Puri
beautiful
estaba
verse.
cantando y
Madhavendra Puri
cantando.
was almost mad in his ecstasy of love of Godhead.
Y un
And
verso
he did
dice,
not know
Madhavendra Puri
whether it
estaba
was day or night.
casi
Sometimes he stood
enloquecido
up
en
and
su amor
sometimes he fell down.
hacia Dios.
He could not discriminate whether he was in a proper place or not. And sometimes you hear Lord Chaitanya describe like this too. He didn't know whether it was day or night.
No podría diferenciar si era día y noche, no podía diferenciar si estaba en un lugar adecuado para estar cantando y recordando al Señor o no.
The potential for us and for all kinds of devotees to delve into their inner life. And
y creo que esto nos da
what
como
you can
potencial
see
de poder
when you close your eyes to the practical considerations of the modern world and delve deeply into Krishna's holy names and into these beautiful pastimes of Krishna.
El contraste
So Madhavendra Puri was really swept
lo que es
away.
el nombre de Krishna y estos
After
pasatiempos.
circumambulating the hill, Madhavendra Puri went to Govinda Kund and took his bath, and then sat beneath a tree to take his evening rest. And while he was sitting beneath this tree, an unknown cowherd boy came, and he offered Madhavendra Puri a pot of milk, and smiling, he addressed him as follows: "O Madhavendra, please drink this milk
y le dice, oh
Why
Madhavendra, por
don't you
favor,
beg some food to eat?
toma
And what
esta
kind of
leche.
meditation are you
¿Y por qué
doing?
no tomas, por qué no estás pidiendo comida y qué tipo de meditación estás
When
haciendo?
Madhavendra Puri saw the
Y cuando
beauty of this
Madhavendra
boy,
Puri vio la belleza de este niño,
he felt relief from all of his hunger and thirst and
se
being
sintió
tired.
aliviado de todo tipo de
And he
cansancio,
responded
hambre
with
y
some of his
sed.
own questions.
Y empezó
Madhavendra Puri says, "Who are you?
a
And where do
hacerle sus
you
propias
reside?
preguntas. ¿Quién eres
And
tú y
how
dónde
did you know
resides?
that I was fasting?"
¿Y cómo sabías que estaba
So
pasando hambre, que
in
estaba
Vrindavan, there
ayunando?
are many sadhus, and sometimes they
Y en
live
Brindavan hay muchos sadhus que a veces viven
by either doing something practical to get their food and
haciendo algo
other
práctico
practical things.
como pedir
Sometimes they
comida y
do
cosas así.
madhukari,
A veces hacen madhukari,
which of course is like the bee that goes from place to place. It's a honey maker, not a
se
eye
podría decir que
maker, a honey maker.
la abeja que va yendo de lugar en lugar
Guru Maharaj has given a lot of
polen para
accounts
hacer
about
miel.
the madhukari.
Guru
But
Maharaj da muchas
Madhavendra
referencias
Puri
en
wasn't
base a
doing madhukari.
madhukari, pero Madhavendra Puri no estaba
And
realizando
so this
madhukari.
little boy, he responds,
Entonces
"I'm a cowherd boy, and I
responde,
reside in this village, and in
soy un
my
gopa,
village
soy un
nobody
pastorcillo
fasts.
que vivo
In this village,
en esta aldea, y
some
esta
people
aldea
can beg for food,
nadie ayuna,
and
nadie pasa hambre.
other
Esta
people,
aldea
they only
las
drink
personas
milk. But if a person
pueden
fasts
pedir por comida y
and
otros
doesn't
pueden
ask
beber
anybody for
leche.
anything, I make sure that they have
Pero
plenty
si
of
una
milk."
persona pasa hambre
He
y no
says,
le pide
the
nada a
women
nadie,
who
yo más
came here to
seguro
take water, they saw you,
de que
and
obtenga
they
comida.
supplied me with milk to bring you.
Una de las mujeres que
So you
vino
can,
aquí a buscar
it's
agua te
interesting
vio
to
y
imagine there are
me dio
some,
leche para que yo te asistiera.
maybe some older gopi women who had gone to Govinda Kund,
Entonces,
and they come back,
se puede
and
imaginar como que
they might say to Krishna, "There's a sadhu who's come into our village. Maybe you should take him some
Govinda
milk."
Kund y le dice a Krishna, hay un sadhu que vino a
So
nuestra
he said,
aldea y quizás le puedes dar
this boy, he says,
un poco de
I
leche.
have to go very soon and milk the
Y este
cows, but
chico
I'll
le dice,
return
me tengo que
and
ir,
I'll take the pot back from you.
pronto y
And saying this, the boy
tengo que
left
ir
this place.
a pastar mis ovejas, pero volveré
Soon,
a
like
buscar
very
el tarro de
soon,
leche.
he couldn't be seen at all. He had vanished.
Y a los pocos
And
minutos que
Madhavendra
dijo,
Puri's
a los
heart
pocos
was
segundos
filled
que
with
dijo
wonder.
esto, ya no se
So
podía ver al
Madhavendra
niño,
Puri
se había
drank the
como
milk
desvanecido.
and he washed the pot
Entonces,
and he set it
Madhavendra Puri,
aside because the boy said he was going to return and take the pot.
Madhavendra Puri tomó la leche,
then,
limpió la jarra y
I
la
like
dejó a
the
un costado
description
esperando
here.
al niño
It said he looked
esperando que el
toward the
niño
path
volviera a buscarle
and the
la
boy
jarra.
never returned.
Él miró a la parte
And
del
you
camino
think sometimes you're
y
watching
el niño
for
nunca
somebody
regresó.
to, oh, he said he was going to return and I'm watching. He's going to
Y
return.
se quedó como esperando a que volviera.
So Madhavendra Puri couldn't sleep.
Entonces Madhavendra
He
Puri
sat and chanted the
no
Hare
pudo
Krishna
dormir.
mantra, and at the end of the
Entonces
night he
comenzó a
dozed a
recitar
little, and then he had
el Maha
and his
Mantra.
external activities had stopped. And in a dream,
Y
Madhavendra Puri saw the very same
al
boy.
dormirse, en
The
un
boy
sueño
came
vio al
before
mismo
him,
niño.
and holding his hand,
El
took him
niño
to a
vino,
bush in the jungle.
lo tomó de sus manos y lo llevó a un arbusto en la
The
selva.
boy showed Madhavendra Puri the bush and said, "I reside in this bush."
El niño le dijo a
And because
Madhavendra
of
Puri,
this, I
yo
suffer
resido en
greatly
este
from the
arbusto
heat and the cold and
y
the
en base a
rain.
eso estoy sufriendo lo que es el
As Guru
calor, las
Maharaj said
lluvias
in
y
one
los
of his
fríos.
lectures, he said, "I live
Guru
in this
Maharaj,
bush and I'm hot.
Guru Maharaj dice en alguna de sus lecturas,
Please
vivo en
bring the
este
people
arbusto
of
y
the
tengo
village
calor.
and get them to take me out of this
Por
bush
favor, trae a la gente de la aldea
and
y
have them
permíteme salir de
situate me nicely
arbusto
on top of the hill."
y sitúame
So,
correctamente en la cima de la colina.
Krishna continues, "Please
Entonces,
construct a temple on top of
Krishna
that hill
continúa.
and
Por favor,
install me
construye
in
un
that
templo
temple.
en
After
la
this,
cima de la
wash me
colina.
with a large quantity of cold water so
Instálame
that my
en
body
el
may be
templo
cleansed."
y lávame con una gran cantidad de agua
And then he says, "For
para que
many
mi cuerpo
days
esté limpio.
I've been observing you, and I've
Y por
been
muchos días
wondering, when will
te he
Madhavendra Puri
observado
come here to serve me?"
y me he preguntado cuándo Madhavendra
So I
Puri
was thinking
vendrá
about
aquí a servirme. Y estaba pensando,
Govardhana Hill,
la colina de
very
Govardhana
tall,
es muy grande,
or used to be taller.
o
It's
solía
not
ser,
very tall now, as we heard
solía
yesterday,
ser
maybe 25 meters,
más
but it used to
grande de
be
lo que es
taller.
ahora.
And
Pero
it
solía ser
is a
más
high
grande
point, I think, in
y
Vrindavan.
es un gran
And
punto alto en
Govardhana
Brindavan.
Hill is able to observe all the
Entonces,
pastimes that
la
go on
colina
there.
la colina de
Cow-herding
Govardhana es capaz
pastimes
de
and game
observar a
pastimes
todos los
and
pasatiempos que
romantic
ocurren en Brindavan,
pastimes.
los
And
pasatiempos
Govardhana Hill
románticos, los
is
pasatiempos de
privileged
los
to witness
gopas.
all of those things.
Entonces, la colina de Govardhana es
And
capaz
I was thinking about Guru Maharaj often tells a story
atestiguar todo este tipo
about
de
the Guru,
pasatiempos.
and he sits on top of the hill.
Y me
And a
recuerda cuando
devotee
Guru Maharaj suele citar
aspires to become a devotee.
que el gurú se sienta encima de la colina y el devoto que aspira, perdón, ser un gran devoto, a veces va subiendo, a veces termina subiendo la colina, pero a veces termina bajando la colina.
He thinks the devotee is coming closer. Going down the hill is just part of going up. Going down is part of going up. So
y hace una referencia en base a que a veces ir hacia abajo es incluso acercarse en cierta manera.
Due to your ecstatic love for me.
Y
thus I shall appear, and by my audience all fallen souls will be delivered. My name is Gopal. I'm the lifter of Govardhana.
Mi nombre es Gopal, le dijo
I was installed by Vajra,
soy quien ha levantado la colina de
and
Govardhana.
here I'm the authority.
Y aquí soy la autoridad.
So, when the Muslims attacked,
cuando
the
los
priest that was
musulmanes
serving
atacaron,
me
el pujari que me estaba sirviendo
hid me in this bush in the jungle, and then he fled
me escondió en este
out
arbusto
of fear of the attack.
la selva y después se escapó por el miedo al ataque.
I was going to insert one more story here, but I'll have to tell you another time. A story about Melecha, but it'll have to come at a later date.
Otra historia aquí, pero la dejaremos para
Since
otro día.
the priest went away, I've been staying in this bush,
y el niño continuó
and it is very good that
desde que
you've
el
come here.
pujari se
Now
fue.
just remove me with care.
He estado aquí en este
So the
arbusto
following day, Madhavendra Puri,
y ahora necesito que me
he
saques
wakes
con
from his
cuidado.
dream.
Entonces el otro día Madhavendra Puri se despierta de su sueño.
Madhavendra Puri woke from his dream and considered all that had happened. He considered that beautiful cowherd boy, and then he considered that Gopal, which was in his dream, which had led him to this spot in the jungle. And then it says a beautiful thing. It says that Madhavendra Puri cried for some time, and then fixing his mind on his service to Gopal, he became tranquil. So that may happen to us sometimes in our lives. Some unwanted thing might happen. We might go through something difficult, and so in this instance, we should follow the example of Madhavendra Puri. We may cry for some time,
tenemos que
and then
seguir
we think
el
about our
ejemplo de
identity,
Madhavendra Puri.
and we think about our
Tenemos que
service to
capaz
Gopal,
llorar en algún momento,
and then we'll
y
become
después
tranquil.
actuar como él,
And then we
reforzar
proceed
nuestra identidad y nuestro
In the
servicio
land of
hacia
the
Gopal.
heart.
Y después continuar como
After taking his morning bath, Madhavendra
desde el
Puri
corazón.
entered the village and assembled all the people.
Después de
And
esto,
he spoke
Madhavendra
as
Puri
follows.
entró en la aldea y reunió a toda la gente
You can imagine
y le contó lo que había sucedido. Entonces pueden imaginarse,
someone comes into town
alguien llega al
who's
pueblo
not familiar with all the other villagers.
que no
And
está,
these
que
are
no
this is
conoce a todos los
the
aldeanos.
village of Govardhana. These are
Y
Brijbasis.
la
And they
gente que
say,
vive en
I had a
Govardhana son
dream.
Brajavasis.
You
Y
can
esta
imagine,
persona
maybe
les dice,
if I came to
tuve
you
un
and I
sueño.
said,
Imagínense
Shamananda and Sakirati, I had a dream last night.
con ustedes y le
Eyes are
digo,
wild.
Shamananda,
I had a
Sakirati,
dream, very profound
tuve
dream,
un sueño anoche muy
and I need for
profundo
all of you to come.
y necesito que
And
todos
we're going to go
vengan.
into the jungle. It's very
Vamos a ir
thick.
a la selva.
I have an axe for everyone, and we're
Vamos
going
a
to chop our
entrar.
way through the jungle. There's a
Tengo un hacha
deity,
para
and
cada
we're going to
uno.
go find him.
Y vamos a
And
meternos
you
bien
might say,
adentro,
look,
hay una
buddy,
deidad
I
y vamos a
got several
encontrarlo.
things planned for the day.
Y capaz nos pueden
I don't
decir,
think I'm going to be
amigo,
able to go with you
tengo cosas
on your
importantes para
trek
hacer
into
en
the
el
jungle.
día, no creo que pueda acompañarte
But Madhavendra Puri,
en
of
tu
course,
aventura a la selva.
is a very profound devotee. And I'm
Pero,
sure he had a
claro,
very
Madhavendra
profound
Puri
feeling.
es un gran devoto,
He's had a very profound day and a very profound night. And so everyone was convinced.
tuvo
And
estos
so
profundos
everyone gathered
sentimientos,
their
entonces todos
axes and
estuvieron
machetes and
convencidos.
shovels, and they
Todos
launch in.
Hachas y machetes
And Madhavendra Puri, certainly he leads them to the bush where Gopal had led him
siguieron la
the
guía de
previous night.
Madhavendra Puri
And there they
hacia el
find
arbusto
a large
en el que
deity
Gopal
of Krishna buried beneath the bush,
lo había guiado a él en el sueño
just
y ahí
there on
encontraron
the
la deidad de
edge of the
Krishna
Rajasthani desert. He'd been there for a long time.
que se encontraba ahí al borde del
And
desierto, que había estado ahí por mucho tiempo.
can't help but think about
No puedo
Sumati.
dejar de
When I
pensar
was
en
living in
Sumati.
Saragrahi,
Cuando estaba viviendo en Saragrahi,
a lot of our seva was to go out and we were clearing the forest. There were lots of thick places.
era salir
And
afuera
Sumati
y
was there, and
limpiar el
she's,
bosque, había muchas
you
cosas,
know, like
muchos arbustos.
75 years old at the time,
Quizás en
and
ese momento tenía
surrounded by
75 años
people who are in their 20s and 30s and
y estaba
40s,
rodeada por
and Sumati is
personas que
working
tenían quizás
very
20,
diligently right
30
alongside them.
años.
So I can't help but
Y
think about
Sumati estaba
Sumati
trabajando
chasing off after Madhavendra
a la par
Puri
de ellos.
to find this
Y no
deity of
puedo
Gopal.
dejar de pensar en Sumati siguiendo a Madhavendra Puri para
When they saw the
encontrar la
deity
deidad.
covered with dirt and grass, they were all struck with
Y
wonder
cuando
and pleasure.
encontraron la deidad cubierta de tierra y
And
pasto,
after they had
todos
cleansed
se
the
volvieron
body,
muy
they had found
contentos.
that the deity was very large. and that no single person was going to be able to lift the deity. So several of the big strong men, they came up and they picked up the beautiful deity of Gopal Nathji, which had been covered under the dirt and dust and roots of Vrindavan.
Que había estado enterrado al borde del desierto y las raíces
carried him to the top of Govardhana Hill.
Y lo llevaron a la cima de la colina de Govardhana.
And the deity was
Una gran piedra
se
transformó
and all the Brahmin priests in the village gathered
y
with water pots,
la deidad se instaló.
And the water from Govinda Kund Lake was brought there.
Y trajeron muchas ollas
con agua. Was being installed,
agua de Govinda
pots of water were brought from Govinda Kund. There were musical sounds of music.
Había
sounds of bugles
sonidos musicales,
and drums, and the singing of women.
Tambores
During the festival,
cantos de mujeres.
At the installation ceremony, some people sang and
y
some people danced,
en el festival de
and all the milk and yogurt and clarified butter in the village was brought to the festival.
Algunas personas dijeron que
so you can't help but think of the Annakut ceremony performed when Krishna was there with Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda and all the villagers, and they had foregone the worship of Indra.
A lo que había sucedido cuando Krishna con Madre Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj y todos los aldeanos habían realizado para
and the Gopal deity,
en el momento de ignorar las
villagers brought their entire stock of grain. They brought rice, and they brought dal, and they brought milk products. And there were mounds of rice, and there were mounds of wheat,
de arroz,
and there were 5 or 6 brahmanas over here, and they're making a wet vegetable preparation, and 5 or 6 are over here, and they're making dry vegetables. 7 or 8 they're over here making chapatis.
Otro grupo haciendo chapatis,
Brahmins over here, and they're chanting mantras.
Otros brahmanas aquí cantando mantras.
So,
y entonces
they bathed the deity.
Entonces bañaron a la deidad.
And they washed the deity with
y
all these hundreds of pots of water from Govinda Kund.
Lo bañaron a la deidad con todas estas ollas de agua de Govinda Kund.
And so that his body looked very glossy.
Y luego de ello,
I can't help but think about some of the deities in Saragrahi when they're worshiping the deities, Bhakti Ras, they're dressing the deities. Ashram Maharaj, he's bathing and decorating his Thakurjis, and Subal's there, and he's decorating and asking little questions from Ashram Maharaj, and Chitta's there, and he's making sandalwood paste. He's crushing and got a mortar and pestle. So they're making the deities very beautiful and very glossy.
Muy brillantes.
And then he was nicely dressed in new garments.
Y luego la deidad fue vestida con
then they offered all these mounds of food, mountains of food, sweetmeats and sweets and ladus and
alimentos dulces, alimentos salados.
And after the final offering, Krishna was offered tambula and pan, and then the Bhoga Artik was performed, and everyone offered their various prayers and obeisances.
Y todos ofrecieron sus reverencias y oraciones. Y cuando el día fue terminando,
local villagers,
todos los aldeanos
there's an amazing sadhu, Madhavendra Puri. And he's appeared here in Govardhana, and the villagers there, they all followed him out on some half-baked trip to find this beautiful deity. And sure enough, it was there. And now this beautiful deity has been installed at the top of Govardhana Hill. So all the surrounding villages, day after day, they were coming, and they're bringing their grain, bringing their rice and wheat, and everybody's coming nicely dressed, and there are Brahmins coming from every village, and they're there's 5 or 6 over here, they're making chapatis, and over here there are 5 or 10, they're making stacks of sweetmeats.
Realizando todo tipo de ofrendas, todo tipo de comidas, preparaciones.
The Annakut ceremony was performed day after day there in Vrindavan.
Y la ceremonia de Annakut se desarrolló día tras día ahí en Vrindavan.
This wonderful festival and installation of Sri Gopalji was arranged in one day.
Este maravilloso
Certainly
festival
all this was accomplished by the potency of Gopal.
Organizado en
no
un
one
día.
but a devotee can understand this. So the Lord was given water for washing his mouth.
El Señor se le dio agua para que limpiara su boca.
brought a new cot and new bedding, and the deity was put to rest. And later that night, he took a milk preparation.
Fue puesta a dormir y luego en la noche tomó una preparación de leche.
So I wanted to read this one last verse.
Entonces quiero leer este último verso.
The ideal place to execute Krishna
El lugar
consciousness is
ideal para
Vrajabhumi or
desarrollar
Vrindavan, where the people are
conciencia de
naturally
Krishna
inclined
es
to love Krishna, and
Vrajabhumi o
Krishna is
Vrindavan,
naturally inclined to
donde
love
todas las
them.
personas están siendo conscientes de
And I'll
Krishna,
read part of
desarrollando
Prabhupada's
conciencia de
purport.
Krishna.
In the
Y
Bhagavad
acabo de
Gita,
leer
it is said,
parte del
Ye yata
comentario
mam
de
prapadyanati
Prabhupada.
tamstataiva bhajamyaham.
En el
There
Bhagavad
is a
Gita
responsive cooperation between the
hay
Supreme
una
Lord Krishna and his
cooperación
devotees.
responsable entre
The
la
more a
Suprema
devotee
Personalidad de Dios,
sincerely loves
Krishna y sus
Krishna,
devotos.
the more
Si un
Krishna
devoto
reciprocates.
sinceramente
So
ama a
much so
Krishna,
that a highly advanced
cuanto más lo
devotee
hace
can
Krishna,
talk with
más
Krishna
recíproca
face
de la
to
misma
face.
manera.
Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita 10:10.
Krishna
Desham
confirma
sattva
esto
yuktanam
en el Bhagavad
bhajatam
Gita
pritipurvakam
capítulo 10, verso
dadami buddhi
10.
yogam tam yena mam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted to
Aquellos
serving me
que
with love,
constantemente están
I give the
dedicados a mi
understanding
servicio
by which they
devocional,
can come to me.
les doy el
The actual mission of
conocimiento a
human
través
life
del
is to
cual
understand Krishna
pueden llegar a mí
and return home back to Godhead.
y volver a Dios, de vuelta
Therefore, one who is
a Dios.
sincerely engaged in the service of the Lord
Por lo tanto,
with
quien
love and
esté
faith can talk with
sinceramente
Krishna and
adentrado
receive
en el servicio del
instructions
Señor,
by which he can
recibiendo
speedily return
instrucciones
home
a través
to
de las
Godhead.
cuales puede volver
So,
a su hogar, de vuelta a
Madhavendra Puri
Dios.
is such a
Entonces,
person,
Madhavendra Puri es tal
and
persona,
with great faith and devotion and
y
care
con
and
gran fe y
attention in
devoción
our service. One day we may become such
en
persons
nuestro servicio.
ourselves,
Quizás podemos volvernos en
and
algún momento ese tipo de
and we
personas.
can be some of those people standing under Govardhana Hill, and we might
Quizás
be
podemos ser
holding our
esas
sticks up to
personas
help our friend Krishna,
estando
or
debajo de la
worrying,
colina de
oh, Krishna,
Govardhana,
his muscle must
levantando
be
nuestros
getting very
bastones
tired. I should
para
maybe
ayudar a Krishna.
give a little massage there.
O aquellas personas que le estamos
Maybe
dando
we'll be
masajes
like
en los brazos a Krishna
a
para
proud
aliviar
Brahmin
su
boy
dolor.
like Madhu Mangal, and we're saying this
O quizás
hill
podemos
is
ser como
Krishna. It looks like Krishna is holding it up, but by it's the power of my mantras. I got this hill supported.
un
You
niño
know, I have
brahmana como
mantra
Madhu
power.
Mangal, y
So,
que podemos decir que estamos
maybe
sosteniendo
that can be
la colina
that's
por
our
nuestros
aspiration. That's our
mantras.
goal.
Y quizás eso
So
podemos
if
ser,
anyone
esa
would
puede ser
like
nuestra aspiración.
to say something,
Entonces, bueno, si alguien quiere
I'd
comentar
love
algo,
to save
si
just a
alguien,
moment for any questions or comments that
si
anybody
alguien en el
might
canal
have.
español
Thank you all very much for
tiene
your time and attention.
alguna pregunta, algún comentario que quiera hacer, lo puede enviar en el chat y yo lo estaré traduciendo.
All right. Omkar Das has given us a thumbs up. Carolina says, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. I really appreciate the way you share these topics. Very sweet, inspiring, and hopeful.
Carolina está diciendo Hare Krishna, muchas gracias. Verdaderamente aprecio la forma en la que has compartido estos tópicos. Muy dulce y inspiradora.
Thank you so much for the class. It was very lively.
Siamananda está agradeciendo mucho por la clase.
Great. Thank you guys for being there. Nice
Muchas
to see
gracias
you, giving me some inspiration.
Y darme inspiración. Gracias por ello. Muy lindo verlos.
I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I hope you have
Espero que todos tengan un lindo día.
Connection with the Govardhana Hill.
Con la colina de Govardhana.
Maybe Guru Maharaj will say some more tomorrow. I'll tell you one more story. I had intended to tell this one. I was initiated in 2013 at the Govardhana Puja Festival. And I got the first and second initiation together. And I went in to talk with Guru Maharaj before initiation. And we had a brief conversation.
Creo que dijo que fue la colina.
But he asked me what I thought was a strange question. He asked me, so what is your conception about Krishna?
Me preguntó cuál es tu concepción acerca de Krishna. Yo creí que fue una pregunta extraña.
I should backtrack a little bit. I offered my obeisances to Guru Maharaj, and I said, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He has said the correct prayer is Om Jnana Timirandasya.
Y él dijo la correcta oración es Om Jnana Timirandasya.
I performed that prayer. And then he asked me, so what is your conception?
Y me dijo, ¿cuál es tu concepción?
What's your conception of what goes on in the spiritual world, and what is your aspiration?
¿Cuál es tu concepción lo que ocurre en el mundo espiritual y cuál es tu aspiración?
What do you mean, Guru Maharaj? And he said,
yo le dije,
do you think that you're supposed to
¿a qué te
arrive
refieres, Guru
at
Maharaj?
Vishnu, or
Y él
we're going to
dijo,
worship Narayan and Vaikuntha?
¿qué crees? ¿Que vamos a llegar o vamos
I
a
had been a
adorar a
devotee for
Vishnu,
like 12 or 13 years, and I didn't want him
a
to think that I
Narayan
had
o a
misunderstood.
Vaikuntha? Yo había sido un devoto durante
So I
13,
said,
12 años y no quería,
no, Guru Maharaj, I want to worship Krishna in Vrindavan.
no quería pensar que había malentendido las cosas.
I was a little shy to say so, but I had heard Madam Gopal say it.
En Vrindavan.
I said, I'd like to worship Krishna as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan.
Yo quiero adorar a Krishna como un gopa en Vrindavan, en la colina de
Guru Maharaj seemed pleased by that.
Entonces Guru Maharaj
why would he ask me that?
Se sintió complacido, por eso yo pensaba, ¿por qué me lo había dicho?
Thank you all very much.
Sorry, Prabhu, Kalram, there's a question in the chat from Bindu Matisaki. It says, Haribol, thank you, Prabhu. One question. The Gopa that was shown yesterday in the class, I believe it's in Brigopad class, is in Govardhana, is in the temple that you spoke today, or is in another part of the hill? Some Gopa that was shown maybe in yesterday's class?
Yeah, I think what she might be referring to is that there's a deity of a cowherd boy. Is that right?
Hay una deidad acerca de un.
There's a deity of a cowherd boy. I believe he said his name was Baula. And the pastime, if I remember correctly, was that Krishna was on his way to Mathura, and Bola was a cowherd boy, and he said, Krishna, you should come and take lunch at my house. And Krishna said, oh, that sounds really nice, but I have some business to attend to. I have to go to Mathura and attend to some things, but then on my return trip, I'll stop and we can have lunch together. But then Krishna didn't return. So Bola was waiting there, and he's fasting.
Estaba esperando ahí y estaba ayunando.
Oh, I can't think of the person's name.
No recuerdo el nombre.
Anyway, he was fasting. And so Krishna never returned, but maybe the deity was continuing to be nourished and continues to grow because of his devotion. So the deity is there, and maybe the cowherd boy, of course, is growing and being nourished by the strength of his devotion, and maybe the deity is doing a similar thing, this Bola. So that was the story that was given to us, one of many awesome stories from Brigupad yesterday. And the deity, if it was unclear, the deity that was installed by Madhavendra Puri is the Gopal deity, Gopal Nathaji. He's there on top of Govardhana Hill. Of course, there's some discussion about the nature of walking on Govardhana Hill. There's a lot of conversation about that. But of course, in the dream, Krishna had instructed Madhavendra Puri to install him on top of the hill and build a temple there. So certainly some walking on the hill would have to be done. Krishna and the cowherd boys also, Srimati Radharani and the gopis, they also walk on the hill. But we don't walk on the hill. Lord Chaitanya didn't walk on the hill.
Por la colina. Pero nosotros no caminamos, anyway, Chaitanya no caminamos por encima de la colina de Govardhana.
That's what I have as an answer from yesterday and today.
Eso es lo que tengo como respuesta en base a la clase de ayer y la de hoy.
So nice to see all of you.
Así que bueno, muchas gracias. Muy lindo verlos a todos. Nos veremos mañana en la clase de Guru Maharaj. Así que bueno, hasta ahí. Muchas gracias. Hare Krishna.
Shriman Kanaram Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.